Good morning. Namaste. It's a privilege and a joy to be a part of this ambitious academic conference. I'm especially delighted to reconnect with Maharashtra after so many decades. There was a time in my life when I had the opportunity to experience in a deeply meaningful way the distinctive cultural spirit of this land, whether through my sitar performances or through my academic engagements. Those memories remain vivid and cherished. I sincerely grateful to Professor Archana Ambore for making this reunion possible. I also extend my heartfelt thanks to Professor Charushila Rumale for her warm invitation. What excites me even more is the remarkable gathering before me today. It is indeed a rare privilege to witness such an inspiring academic confluence, where scholars, teachers from so many different disciplines have come together with curiosity, openness, and shared commitment to learning. It is almost like a beautiful orchestrated ensemble, where every discipline contributes its own distinctive voice to a larger intellectual harmony. The presence of my dear students, research scholars, musicians, and artists adds yet another dimension to this gathering, giving it a warmth and spirit of a grand academic concert. I am certain that all of us are already familiar with artificial intelligence, its extraordinary capabilities, and its rapidly expanding influence on almost every sphere of human life. Throughout this conference, we shall undoubtedly hear many insightful discussions on how AI is transforming diverse disciplines and professional practices. This morning, however, I would like to invite you to walk with me along a somewhat different path. Rather than asking how artificial intelligence can transform music, I would like to explore a more unusual question. Can an ancient musical tradition such as Hindustani Rāga music help make artificial intelligence more culturally intelligent and, in a deeper sense, more human? This is the journey I hope we can undertake together today. Whenever people discover that I work with artificial intelligence and have spent most of my life practicing Hindustani Rāga music, they almost always ask me one or two questions. The first is, can AI compose music? The second is, with considerably more anxiety, Professor, will AI replace musicians? I usually smile and reply, if AI can replace me after 60 years of practicing music, perhaps I should stop practicing tomorrow morning. Fortunately, to me, perhaps for AI too, I can continue my riyaz tomorrow. These questions reveal something much deeper. They remind us that we are living at an extraordinary moment of history. Throughout history, humanity has invented tools that extended our physical abilities. The wheel helped us travel farther. The telescope helped us see farther. The printing press helped us spread ideas further. But artificial intelligence is different. For perhaps the first time, we have created a technology that appears to extend not only our hands and our eyes, but aspects of our thinking itself. This is both exciting and unsettling too. Although AI has been developing for decades, its public impact accelerated dramatically after the release of ChatGPT in late 2022. For the first time, millions of ordinary people, not only computer scientists, could converse naturally with an intelligent machine. Within weeks, AI entered everyday life. Today, it assists doctors, engineers, lawyers, researchers, educators, artists, and musicians. The question is therefore no longer, will AI become important? That question has already been answered. The more interesting question is, how should we teach AI to understand human knowledge? That is where my journey intersects with the remarkable technology.
मित्रांनो, आजकाल AI हजारो रागांचे विश्लेषण करू शकतो. हे खरंच आश्चर्यकारक आहे. पण एक प्रश्न मनात राहतो. AIला राग यमन ओळखता येईल, पण यमन का मनाला शांत करतो हे जाणवता येईल का? कदाचित स्वर मोजता येतील, पण स्वरातून उठणारा अनुभव अजूनही मानवी आहे. आणि म्हणूनच तंत्रज्ञानाला मान देऊ, पण मानवी संवेदनशीलता विसरू नका. शेवटची ओळ हलुकसं स्मित आणेल आणि मग तुम्ही पुन्हा तुमच्या मुख्य विचारांकडे सहज वळू शकाल.
I have spent most of my life within the world of Hindustani Rāga music, a tradition that has survived for centuries without printed textbooks, cloud storage, or artificial intelligence. Its greatest archive was never made of paper. It was the human mind. Knowledge traveled from guru to disciple through listening, observation, imitation, correction, reflection, and years of shared musical experiences. Every accomplished musician became, in a sense, a living library. Now imagine introducing artificial intelligence into such a tradition. Many people immediately ask, can AI teach raga music? I believe that is the wrong question. The more important question is, can AI strengthen a living knowledge tradition without replacing the human relationships that have sustained it for generations? At first glance, music may seem an unusual place to investigate AI or artificial intelligence. After all, AI is usually associated with medicine, robotics, finance, or autonomous vehicles. Why music? Because music presents one of the greatest tests of intelligence. A machine can calculate millions of numbers every second. It can defeat world chess champions. It can analyze enormous database far beyond human capacity. But can it understand why a single musical phrase moves someone to tears? Can it understand why the same note sung with a different intention creates an entirely different emotional world? Can it recognize not merely sound but meaning? These are not simply musical questions. These are questions about intelligence itself. During the past few years, researchers have made remarkable progress in applying AI to music. Today's systems can identify musical styles, analyze performances, assist composers, recommend music, support teaching, and even generate original melodies. In many respects, AI has become an extraordinarily gifted student. It never becomes tired. It never complains about homework. And unlike many university students, it actually reads everything that is assigned. Give it thousands of research papers, it studies them. Give it millions of musical recordings, it analyzes them. Give it enough examples and it begins recognizing patterns and even experienced scholars sometimes overlook. This is genuinely remarkable. But then something unexpected happened. Researchers introduced AI to Hindustani Raga music, and suddenly the brilliant student realized that it had entered a classroom unlike any it had known before. Like every good student, AI learns from experience. But there is one important condition. It learns from the experience we provide. Imagine a child whose geography lessons include hundreds of rivers. The child studies every map, learns every pattern, and answers every examinations perfectly. One day, you take the child to the Brahmaputra during the monsoon. Suddenly, nothing behaves as expected. The river changes course, it divides, it rejoins, it reshapes the landscape as it flows. The child is not unintelligent. The child's education was simply incomplete. I believe something remarkably similar has happened to artificial intelligence. For decades, we taught AI to understand music, but largely through traditional built upon fixed pitches, symbolic notation, and harmonic structures. Then AI encountered Hindustani Raga music. Researchers soon realized that many of their assumptions no longer held valid. Most computational models had been trained using musical traditions where notes are represented as discrete events. Raga, however, often lives not in isolated notes, but in the continuous movement between them. Many of us first think of music as a collection of sa, re, ga, ma or do, re, mi. A piano reinforces that idea perfectly. Each key produces the same note every time. But Hindustani musicians have long understood the music is more than collection of notes. Much of its expressive life emerges in the movements between them. Say the, of course I am not a vocalist, so you have to bear with me. So what happened? You have a lower glide. You are gliding to the lower pitch, and then going to sa, and this da, then the vibrato in the da, he. There is a specific curvature you took to reach sa. Then the intensity goes higher with the increase of pitch. So 101 things are happening here, and if you just write Komalda and sa or whatever, it doesn't at all express the musical sentiment that what actually happened. So dhasa is completely inadequate to understand re, re. So and this the pitch is not based on C, C sharp, D, whatever the Western specific pitches are. It can start any point of time. It can start at any point. The tonic can be anywhere, not on the fixed scale. So things are altogether different when you come to Hindustani Raga music. Now imagine writing only the first note and the last note will not work. What happened to everything in between? That is why much of the music disappeared. The glide, the hesitation, the delicate pull towards another note, these are not ornaments added after the music. They are part of musical language itself. This is precisely where Hindustani Raga music has become one of the most fascinating frontiers of artificial intelligence. It challenges us to move beyond recognizing notes towards understanding relationships, continuity, expressions, and culture. And that challenges has gradually transformed my own research. I realized that I was no longer asking how AI could understand music. I was asking how music might help us build a more culturally intelligent artificial intelligence. The idea brings us to the central theme of today's lecture. Now we have reached the part 2 of the presentation, where we shall discuss from artificial intelligence to cultural intelligence. Why does Hindustani Rāga music present such a challenge for artificial intelligence? The first reason is the idea of sa. In Western classical music, musicians generally perform with a fixed reference pitch. In Hindustani music, however, sa is not tied to any absolute frequency. Each performer establishes the tonic according to the natural range of voice or instrument. Once that tonic is established, every other note derives its identity from its relationship to sa. Think of it like a North Star. Its position may appear different depending on where you stand, but once it is identified, the entire system of navigation becomes meaningful. Similarly, once sa is established, the musical universe recognizes itself around that center. The relational way of thinking is intuitive for every Hindustani musician, yet it requires AI to move beyond fixed pitches towards dynamic musical relationships. A second challenge is improvisation. Improvisation is often misunderstood as complete freedom, but it is not. A raga performer enjoys immense creative freedom, but always within a rigorous musical grammar. Every raga possesses characteristic phrases, preferred melodic pathways, expressive gestures, and emotional identity that distinguishes it from others. Even listeners without formal training often recognizes when these principles have been violated. They may not explain why, but this says that something has gone wrong. This observation has fascinated me for many years because it suggests that musical understanding is not merely intellectual. It is perceptual. It develops from repeated attentive listening, what I have described elsewhere as perceptive musical listening. The ear gradually learns relationships that are extraordinarily difficult to reduce to a list of rules. Now consider artificial intelligence. Current AI can detect the tonic. They can analyze pitch. They can transcribe performances to some extent. They can even generate raga-like phrases. These are impressive achievements, no doubt at all. Yet, every success leads to a deeper question. Is recognizing musical patterns the same as understanding music? Many ragas share the same collection of notes, yet experienced musicians immediately recognize them as different because of phrase grammar, note hierarchy, ornamentation, timing, emphasis, and aesthetic intention. Think about Deshkar, Bhupali, the Arana, Darbari Kandra, Jaunpuri, the same notes, different ragas. The notes themselves are only part of the story. The music lies in the relationships. That is why I believe the next stage of AI research is not simply more accurate pattern recognition. It is the development of cultural intelligence. AI capable of engaging with musical traditions whose meanings depends upon context, continuity, memory, expression, and lived cultural practices. This realization gradually changes the direction of my own work. I came to see AI not merely as a computational tool, but as one element within much larger musical knowledge ecosystem connecting teaching, research, creativity, preservation, and cultural continuity. This perspective also transforms the way we think about music education. In recent years, AI has become an effective practice assistant in Western music education by providing objective feedback on measurable aspects of performance such as pitch accuracy, rhythm, tempo, and intonation. The next frontier is much more ambitious. Just listen to some small kids, 11-year-old kids' performance of sitar. That will tell you many things. Now, let us try to take the challenge. The challenge is to develop AI capable of supporting musical traditions whose identity depends not only on technical corrections but also on contextual grammar, expressive articulations, stylistic nuance, and culturally grounded aesthetic judgment. Hindustani Rāga music exemplifies this frontier. Such systems should not replace the guru. Rather, they should strengthen the guru's work. This leads to propose a pedagogical framework that I call Guru to AI to Śiṣya. The order is important. The guru remains the architect of learning. The guru decides educational goals, selects the repertoire, determines the sequence of learning, shapes artistic judgment, and guides the disciples' aesthetic and emotional development. The AI functions as an intelligent practice assistant. It observes routine aspects of practice, detects recurring technical issues, organizes learning resources, supports reflective listening, and provides objective analytical feedback during independent practice. The Śiṣya remains at the center of the learning journey. Musical understanding develops not through technology alone, but through disciplined practice, attentive listening, reflections, and interaction with both Guru and the AI. In this framework, AI never directs learning, It serves the learning process under the guru's guidance. This model also reflects a broader transition in AI research. Future progress will depend not only on larger datasets or more powerful algorithms, but on richer musical representations, culturally diverse knowledge, explainable AI, and collaboration between musicians, educators, computer scientists, psychologists, and cultural scholars. When viewed in this way, AI becomes much more than a teaching assistant. It becomes a research partner. Imagine thousands of hours of archivable recordings. No individual researcher could carefully compare every performance, every improvisation, or every stylistic variation across generations. AI can. It can identify recurring melodic patterns, compare gharanas, assist transcription, reveal hidden relationships, and such enormous collection within seconds. But there is an important distinction. AI discovers patterns, but human beings interpret their meaning. Finally, AI has enormous potential for knowledge management. Every musical tradition accumulates an extraordinary wealth of recordings, manuscripts, interviews, photographs, teaching notes, concert documentation, and historical archives. Too often, these resources remain isolated. Imagine instead an intelligent archive. Imagine instead an intelligent archive. Search for one raga and the system immediately connects performances by different masters, historical writings, pedagogical materials, rare recordings, research papers, and related artistic traditions. Instead of merely storing information, the archive begins creating knowledge. At that moment, AI ceases to be only an analytical tool. It becomes an active participant in preserving and enriching a living musical tradition. These ideas naturally lead to a broader question. If AI can contribute to teaching, research, practice, preservation, and knowledge management, how do all these contributes connect? To answer that question, I would like to introduce a three-dimensional framework that emerged from my review of recent international research. Now we have reached part 3, seeing the bigger picture, reviewing the international literature on AI and music indexed in Scopus and Web of Science from 2022 to 2026. As I reviewed the international literature on artificial intelligence and music, I encountered remarkable research on intelligent tutoring systems, music generation, performance analysis, emotional recognition, recommendation systems, and digital archives. Each study was valuable. Yet, I gradually realized that something was missing. Imagine visiting a beautiful city at night. One guide shows you the schools, another the hospitals, another the railway station, and another the museum. Each guide is correct, but none has shown you the city itself. They have shown you individual buildings, not the relationships between them. I felt that much of the AI literature resembled those guided tours. It described impressive individual applications but seldom revealed the larger ecosystem connecting them. That led me to organize the literature differently. Instead of asking what technologies are researchers developing, I asked three simpler questions. Where does AI contribute? How does AI contribute? And why should AI contribute? These questions gradually became what I now call a three-dimensional analytical framework. Let us talk about the first dimension. Where does AI contribute? Imagine artificial intelligence joining a university, not as a vice chancellor or even as a professor, but as an extraordinary capable colleague. Where would we ask this colleague to work? The answer is almost anywhere. AI supports teaching by helping prepare learning materials, answering routine questions, creating personalized learning experience, and assisting students beyond the classroom. It supports performance by providing continuous practice assistance and analytical feedback. It supports research by analyzing large collection of musical data, comparing performances across generations, identify recurring melodic patterns, and revealing relationships that individual researchers might never discover. It also supports knowledge management by connecting recording, manuscripts, interviews, photographs, research papers, teaching materials, and historical archives into intelligent knowledge networks. In every case, AI does not replace human expertise. It extends human capability. Just as the telescope extended your vision, AI extends our ability to discover, organize, and connect knowledge. Now look at the second dimension. How does AI contribute? Knowledge itself has a life. It is discovered, it is evaluated, it is presented, and ultimately it is renewed. AI increasingly participates in every stage of this journey. It accelerates discovery by searching enormous bodies of literature, analyzing musical collections, identifying hidden relationships, and recommending relevant information. It assists evaluation by measuring pitch, rhythm, intonation, and performance consistency. Yet, measurement is not interpretation. Only human musicians can ask, does this performance communicate? Does it reveal artistic maturity? Does it move us? Technology measures. Human beings interpret. The distinction is fundamental. It also offers unprecedented opportunities for preservation. Oral traditions are among humanity's most fragile cultural inheritances. A manuscript may survive for centuries. An oral tradition can disappear within a single generation if it is not transmitted. AI enables us not merely to digitize recordings, but to preserve relationships, contexts, teaching traditions, lineages, interpretations, and the living fabric of musical culture. Finally, comes to renewal. Preservation alone is never enough. A tradition survives because every generation learns, questions, creates, and contributes something new. AI should therefore not become the guardian of a frozen past. It should become a partner in cultural continuity. Let us think about the third dimension. Why should AI contribute? This is perhaps the most important question. Technology often asks, what can we build? Humanity must also ask, why should we build it? Capability without purpose has never been enough. The first purpose is human development. Music education has never been merely about technical accuracy. It is about cultivating sensitivity, imagination, patience, attentive listening, reflection, discipline, and humility. Artificial intelligence should strengthen these qualities, not replace them. Technology should help produce better musicians because it helps cultivate better listeners. The second purpose is cultural sustainability. AI learns from data. The cultures are far more than data. They embody values, relationships, memories, ways of listening, ways of understanding beauty. Now let us discuss the conclusions. If AI learns only from the world's largest musical traditions, smaller traditions gradually become invisible. That would represent a profound cultural loss. The future of artificial intelligence, therefore, depends not merely upon larger datasets. It depends upon richer cultures. Indian Raga music is one such culture. So are Persian music, Arabic, Mokam, Javanese gamelan, African rhythmic traditions, Gregorian chant, and countless others. Each musical civilization contributes a unique way of organizing human experiences. Cultural diversity is therefore not an obstacle to artificial intelligence. It is one of its greatest educational resources. This understanding gradually transformed my own research. I realized that I was no longer studying artificial intelligence in music. I was studying the future of intelligence itself. The next generation of AI cannot become truly intelligent simply by processing more information. It must also learn to engage with human cultures, to recognize that music is not merely organized sound. It is organized human experience, not merely frequency, but meaning. Not merely data, but civilization. For that reason, I believe we must begin moving beyond speaking only of artificial intelligence. Our larger goal should be cultural intelligence, an intelligence capable of respecting diversity while discovering unity, an intelligence that assists humanity from flattening humanity, an intelligence that learns not only from computers, but also from the wisdom embodied in living cultures. Returning to the beginning, let us return to the two questions on which we began. Can cultural intelligence compose music? Yes. With artificial intelligence, will artificial intelligence replace musicians? I believe that is the wrong question. AI can already compose music, analyze performances, assist teachers, support researchers, organize archives, and help students practice more effectively. Its capabilities will continue to grow. But throughout this journey, another truth has quietly emerged. Music is not merely organized sound. It is organized human experience. A raga is not simply a sequence of notes. It's a journey shaped by listening, memory, imagination, discipline, relationships, and culture. The journey cannot be reduced to data alone, nor should it be. Performance, perhaps the greatest contribution of Hindustani Rāga music is not that it presents another application for artificial intelligence. Rather, it challenges us to rethink intelligence itself. It reminds us that true intelligence includes sensitivity, patience, judgment, context, and above all, the ability to listen before responding. These qualities have sustained one of the world's oldest living musical tradition for centuries. This may also become essential as we design the next generation of intelligent technologies. Throughout history, every transformative technology has focused humanity to ask not only what it can do, but what kind of society it should help create. Artificial intelligence is no exception. If we design AI merely to become faster, it will become faster. If we design it merely to become more efficient, it will become more efficient. But if we design it to respect human creativity, cultural diversity, and the wisdom preserved within living traditions, it may become something for more value, a partner in preserving and enriching our shared cultural heritage. For me, that is why the dialogue between artificial intelligence and Hindustani Rāga music matters so profoundly. It is not simply a meeting between technology and music. It is a meeting between two ways of understanding knowledge. One excels at processing information, the other has spent centuries cultivating perception. Neither is complete without each other. Together, they invite us to imagine a future in which technological innovation and cultural wisdom do not compete but collaborate. If that future becomes possible, then AI will not diminish our musical traditions. It will help future generations discover them, understand them, and cherish them in ways we are not beginning to imagine. And perhaps one day people will say that one of the greatest contributions of Indian Raga music was not simply that it inspired new technologies, but that it reminded us what intelligence, creativity, and humanity have always meant. Thank you.